two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened.
Emmaus is this way. Let's go.
While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?"
Hey, what are you all talking about?
They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?"
So much has happened. How could you not know? What kind of things?
They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who redeemed Israel. Yes, and besides all of this, it is now the 3rd day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who had said he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him."
Yeah, what she said.
Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all of these prophets, not to believe what all of these prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?"
All of this had to happen, you know.
Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead, as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it's almost evening, and the day is now nearly over."
Stay with us.
So, he went with them.
We have fried chicken, so you might want to come along. And we also have wine and bread and fried chicken.
So he went in to stay with them. While he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed it, and broke it, and gave it to them. Their eyes were open, and they recognized him.
It's the Lord.
But he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were our hearts not burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up, and they returned to Jerusalem. And they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon."
Jesus was here. Didn't you see him?
Then they told what had happened to them on the road, and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread.
We saw the Lord, but then he disappeared. It's true. I was there too.
The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
It's so nice to be here. If I talk like this, you can hear me okay.
Wherever you want.
I'm going to be a wanderer, I have to tell you, and I'm really sorry. You did a wonderful job. Really, that was so nice. Thank you for doing that nice story. The road, and meeting a stranger, and experiencing Jesus when you're interacting with the stranger in a surprising way. It happens, and I think it's interesting, and I think if we really thought about it, any one of us could come up with an interesting story about something like that, about meeting in a surprising way a stranger who helps you see God in a way that's unbelievable. Before I go on about that, can anyone tell, is there anyone here visiting for the very first time? Okay, because that's when I usually say something like, "I'm really sorry you picked today to come because you have to listen to me." But having having seen that there are no visitors, I do like to take the opportunity and to say something like, what the heck? No one invited anyone to church? For crying out loud. That's your job. Okay, I'm glad I got that out of the way. So it was a few weeks back, and I had visited a church in Connecticut, I forget which one, and I was driving home and pulled over at the rest stop on the Mass Pike, the first one when you get on the Mass Pike in Sturbridge or Charlton or whatever it is. Have you been in that one? Yeah, it's nice. They have a bathroom and there's a McDonald's, I think. And there was also an ATM machine, which I needed money from the ATM machine, and so I grabbed some cash. And I went outside and got into my Subaru. It's a nice car, I like it. And just as I was about to turn the key to turn on the car, the ignition, I got a knock on my window. Now, that doesn't happen very often, and so I was startled a little bit, and I guess I turned the car on thinking, I'm going to get out of here. And then I thought, maybe I should just find out what the dealio is, and so I rolled down my window, which I didn't roll down my window like this, I just pressed the button. Because my car is one of the, you just press the button and the window comes. Well, you all probably have a car like that. But if I had said I rolled down the window, it doesn't have the same sort of, roll down the window. It's not important, that part. I rolled down the window and the gentleman there said, right away, he said, "This is humiliating," he said. I'm driving from New York to Cape Cod, I think he said to see my parents, and I left my wallet in New York, and I have no money, and I need gas. Can you help me? Now, I have been asked for things like this before. I had worked in Hartford, Connecticut, and lots of people over the 15 years that I lived in Hartford asked me for money, and I got quite good at very quickly sizing up the situation. And so when the gentleman said to me, "Can you help me out? This is humiliating," my mind thought about all sorts of things very quickly. You know how that happens? Like in just a very quick instant, you have all these thoughts. One of the thoughts that I had was, well, he seems pretty well put together. I can imagine maybe he got in his car in New York, forgot to put the wallet in his pocket, and was driving to the Cape and thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? I could see that. And then I thought, okay, I was just at church, and I was up in front telling people how important it is to be generous, even when it doesn't make sense to be generous, that we are called to be generous people. We are God's people, blessed so much. When the need arises, you should be generous. I thought, well, crap. Then I realized that I had just gone to the ATM machine and I had a bunch of 20s in my pocket. And I thought, well, I can't very well start lying already. I just left church. And then I thought, well, I'm on my way to my friend John's birthday party. And my friend John is second to my mother, the most generous person that I know. And I thought, well, I could give him some money and give it in honor of my buddy John's birthday. And John will be so appreciative that I did that. So I did. I gave him money, and he was so thankful. And he said, wow, could you tell me your name and address? Because I'd like to send it back to you. Now, what I should have said is, no, dude, no worries. It's yours. I mean, help someone out someday, it's fine. But it's a gift, please, no. That's what I should have said. Because that's what we're supposed to do. If someone needs something, we give it. Doesn't it say that in the Bible or something, Pastor?
Yeah.
I didn't do do that, though. I said, look, if you want to pay it back, how about this? Go to www.calumet.org. Now, for those of you who don't know, I work at Camp Calumet. I'm the director of development. My job is to go around and ask for money. So I know that website. It's up there. So I said, go to www.calumet.org. Pastor, I noticed that no one took out a pen and was writing down. www.calumet.org and make a gift. It's a camp for kids. And he went, holy crap! Now, he didn't say crap. He said something way worse. Now, I could have said holy stinkos or something, but I think by saying holy crap, it gives you an indication of the sense of what he said. It was holy. It was past. Never mind. That's not very important. But it was a shocking word. And he said, I went to Camp Calumet as a kid. And I thought, really? And he said, yeah, I grew up at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Holden. And then we moved, and I started going to Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Northeastern. And then we started talking and sharing names of things, and I thought, this guy, there's no way he could know all these things. And I could just sense that this was a legitimate thing. I met Jesus on that road. I met Jesus, and Jesus reminded me on that road that day that when you see a need, you respond in the way that God wants you to respond. Jesus reminded me of that on that road. It was a beautiful thing to be surprised by meeting a stranger and actually seeing Jesus. I was on another road when I was 13 years old in Woburn, Massachusetts. It was school vacation, and a friend of mine and I went bowling in Woburn. And after we went bowling, we walked along Main Street. I don't know how it happened, but we got some cigarettes. And we thought we'd be cool and smoke cigarettes. For those of you who are not of age, you shouldn't smoke. For those of you who are of age, you shouldn't smoke. But we smoked. And while we were walking down the road, I looked up at just the right moment, and passing by me was Linnea. Linnea was a woman that bowled with my mother every Wednesday. And she went to the Lutheran church in Woburn. We were Lutherans in Arlington. And we walked a few steps, and I sort of elbowed my friend Jonathan, and I said, crap. That lady bowls with my mother. I'm in trouble. And Jonathan said, don't worry, she didn't even recognize you. Just calm down. I thought, yeah, you're probably right. And so I walked a few more steps. And then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to turn around just to make sure she's still walking. I turned around. She was not still walking. She had stopped. She had the bags from CVS on her wrists. They were in her hands, I remember, but they were now on her wrists so that she could take her hands and put them on her hips like that and look at me down the road. I met Jesus on that road. That day I met Jesus, and Jesus told me, come on, Knute, you're better than that. You're better than that. Come on. Last road story, last year, I was on a road, and I was having to sit, well, I wasn't actually on a road. This is a symbolic road. So you'll have to be symbolic thinkers for a minute. But you guys seem like you're with it. I was actually sitting down because I had been quite I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling good at all. They said, Knute, if you don't feel good, come in, because it means it's a problem. And when I wasn't feeling good, I did not go in, because I'm a New Englander, and I'm a boy, and I'm a Swedish person. And when you put all those things together, it really equals dumb. But it got to the point that it just was not good, and I went in, and I walked right in the office, and they did not greet me the way that they had been greeting me. They immediately said, "Oh, Knute." And they brought me over and sat me down in a chair and immediately started pumping me with fluids. Reminded me, Knute, you don't have, I don't know what the words are, but I was having some treatments last year, and I forget how it is, but they kill the good stuff and the bad stuff when you have treatments. And I didn't have the good stuff in me to fight this infection. And I think they probably explained that to me, but I don't remember that part. But I met Jesus on that road that day, and Jesus told me, Knute, however dumb you are, I love the heck out of you, and I'm here to serve. And boy, did I feel served and cared for that day. You have your own stories about roads that you're on, that you've been on. You can dream about the stories that will come, of the roads that you will be on, where you're going to meet and interact with Jesus. When we leave this place in a few minutes, after I'm done with my sermon, I have another 47 minutes or so. You're going to go outside, you're going to go get some lunch, you're going to go and meet your neighbor, you're going to go to practice or whatever. Be ready for how God is putting someone in your path to rattle you a little bit, to help you understand a little bit more. St. Paul Lutheran Church is on a road as a congregation. It's an interesting road. You're doing a capital campaign now. And so if you all haven't been asked, you all soon will be asked to participate in that. God is one that enters into our lives as individuals and as congregations. And God says to us, do not be afraid. God says to us, when we are together, following along the way that we are called to follow, we're going to be okay. We have each other, and we are called to love and serve and to protect and challenge each other. And it's a beautiful thing to be the church. I pray for St. Paul Lutheran Church that in the days and the weeks and the months to come, this will be a congregation that will be one ready to receive guests and visitors, because this place is a place where God is alive, where you have created space for Jesus to be here present with you. And that's something that is needed now in our communities more than ever. You have that gift to give to your friends and neighbors and colleagues. And I'm just so thankful that you are here and you're so healthy. Now, one of you might say, what the heck does this have to do with Camp Calumet, where I work? www.calumet.org. Camp Calumet exists for you. You, the people of New England, make sure that it exists. Kids are going to be coming to camp this summer. They're going to arrive having been on some road, because every kid is traveling along a road. It's tough to be a kid. Camp Calumet is a place set apart so the kids can relax a little bit and wonder a little bit and be ready to experience God's love in a way that maybe they haven't experienced it before. And that's an important thing for kids to have while they're going along whatever roads they're on. So thank you very, very much for doing what you do to make sure that Camp Calumet is strong. I really, really appreciate it, and I know that the kids who are coming this summer, they don't know that you're awesome and that you're the reason that it exists. But I know that those future people, join me in thanking you for being so wonderful and good and generous. Thank you for being the church here in Old Saybrook, and I'm so looking forward to hearing the successful capital campaign and doing all the things you've got to get done. It's going to be great. Thanks for letting me be here today, everybody. Don't get arrested.